Observers. There's a truth about human nature that most people will never understand. People don't make decisions logically. They justify them logically, but they decide emotionally. And the moment you understand this, everything changes. Because influence is not about forcing someone. It's about guiding what they already feel. Let me show you something subtle. Think about the last time you agreed with someone. Was it because they gave you facts or because something about them felt right? Maybe their tone, maybe their confidence, maybe the way they understood you. That's the first principle, observers. People trust feelings more than facts. Now, here's the psychological shift most people miss. If you try to control people directly, they resist. But if you make them feel understood, they open. And when someone opens up, they lower their guard. That's where influence begins. Observers, there is a technique hidden in plain sight. It's called emotional mirroring, but not in the way you think. Most people copy words. Smart people copy tone. But the real influencers, they mirror emotional states. If someone is excited, you match that energy. If someone is calm, you slow down. If someone is frustrated, you acknowledge it, not fake, not forced, but aligned. Because when people feel this person gets me, they stop questioning you. And here's where it gets deeper. Humans have a silent need to feel seen, to feel important, to feel understood. If you fulfill that need, you don't have to push anything. They start moving toward you. Observers, influence is not domination, it's direction. And direction comes from one powerful principle. Whoever controls the emotional frame leads the interaction. Let me explain. Every conversation has a hidden frame, a perspective, a lens. And most people unconsciously step into other people's frames. But the ones who influence, they set the frame. Example, instead of saying, "Can you help me?" they say, "You're someone who understands this better than most." See the difference? One asks. The other defines identity, and people act according to the identity you assign them. This is called identity priming, and it's one of the most powerful psychological triggers because people don't just act randomly. They act in ways that are consistent with who they believe they are. Observers, if you tell someone you're the kind of person who keeps their word, they will feel pressure to live up to that. Not because you forced them, but because you shaped their self-image. Now combine this with emotional mirroring, and something interesting happens. You're no longer just talking to someone. You're influencing how they see themselves and how they feel in your presence. And that's where most people lose control, because they try to win arguments instead of guiding perception. Let me give you a rule, observers. The moment you argue, you lose influence. Why? Because arguments trigger ego. And when ego is active, listening stops. Instead, use this: agreement before direction. Acknowledge first, then guide. For example, "I understand why you'd think that. Most people do." Pause. Then, "But there's something most people overlook." Now, you didn't attack them. You didn't oppose them. You walked with them, then gently changed direction. That's influence. Observers, there's one final layer, and very few people ever reach this. It's called perceived authority. People don't follow truth. They follow confidence. They follow certainty. They follow presence. If you hesitate, you lose impact. If you sound unsure, you lose influence. But when you speak with calm certainty, even simple ideas feel powerful. So remember this, influence is not about being loud. It's about being certain. Now bring everything together. You mirror emotions. You validate feelings. You shape identity. You control the frame. You speak with certainty. And suddenly, you don't need to control people. They naturally align with you. Observers. Most people go their entire lives trying to be heard. But the real power belongs to those who make others feel heard first. Because in the end, the one who understands human nature doesn't chase control. They create connection. And through connection comes influence. If you're an observer of human behavior, subscribe. Because what you're learning here, most people will never even notice.